Greetings, this is Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I have drifted into the underworld. The Star Wars Underworld. I have a bad feeling about this.
Here we go. We must go to the lower levels. The underworld.
You've taken your first step into a larger world.
You're after something.
Ben.
Since I've started the underworld, I've met so many great friends.
Chris.
I grew up in the 1990s, and mall packaging is nostalgic for me.
Dominic.
What I love most about Star Wars is that it's fun and it's all-round good times.
So, this is where the fun begins.
May the Force be with us.
This thing really moves!
Whoa! I like this!
I can't believe you came all this way to see me.
Why am I not in the intro? I gotta come up with a snappy line.
Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Star Wars Underworld Podcast. I'm a voice.
I was gonna say, get croaky
all day. No problems. And then now it's like, no, you can't talk now. You're not allowed to talk.
Let's get down with it. I love it.
We have another wonderful episode for you guys tonight. It's gonna be a little interesting. You were this close. You were this close,
like a hair,
to a Ben Solo show, to a Ben Solo, not a having Adam Driver on the show, meaning me being the only person on the show. Okay, but thankfully, Hannah came in clutch, and I'm doing everything out of order. This is the way. This is what's going to be. Okay, this is the show. Okay, how's it going, Hannah?
Yeah, how you doing, Ben? Oh my God, yes, yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm here, barely, but I'm here. I'm excited. Obviously, I'm fairly versed in doing solo shows because that's the bulk of what I do over the Raeside. And I'm quite versed in doing one-on-ones like this. I'm very excited because I feel like it's a format SWU. Did I just mix SW and Scooby-Doo? SWU? What?
It's a mouthful.
Yeah, that's a crossover waiting to happen. But SWU, people are so used to having at least 3 of you here. So yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be good. I'm sure we'll have some good back and forths about the hot topics and the hot news coming. So I'm good. I'm great.
We got as you mentioned, we got a hell of a lot of hot news. Tonight, of course, we'll be talking about the triumphant return of Star Wars Visions, Volume 3, officially confirmed. Going to be getting into that. And then, of course, I think the bottom has dropped out when it comes to Skeleton Crew media. It's all over the place.
We just
TV
show
spots,
us everything.
Trailers, clips, interviews. There's a whole thing in London today that happened. I didn't get half of what happened there. So we'll get to that too. And maybe we'll answer a couple of your questions at the end of the day, because you're getting like half of the answers you would normally be getting. Yeah, because the other half of the crew is not here, so I'm not sure it's fair.
It's like not valid. Like, yeah, it's not fair enough. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, so we'll get there when we get there. Okay, if we have time. But right now I'm gonna give you the plugs because I usually just sit back during this section and just go, hi, they'll go.
Both
great
of us
plugs.
do. Like, neither of us do any of the yapping at the start. So we're like, what do you guys need to know from us? Lazy. What do you need to know?
And it's by design, okay? I just how I roll. But I will tonight tell you to check out the Star Wars Underworld Network. Lots of great podcasts over there, including The Raeside and Ion Cannon, Tractor Beam, Tales from Beyond the Galaxy, and I would say many more. I actually don't think there's any more. I think that's it. That's great.
So true.
I mean, I am nothing but honest. Okay, I'm sorry. So also check out our Discord, where we have lots of stuff going on. I believe this week, Friday, tomorrow, as of recording this, we will be watching the holiday special, not the original holiday special, because we did that last year. We're doing the Lego Star Wars holiday special, a good little watch along commentary on that. So come join, queue up for Disney Plus, or actually I'll have it. I will be technically illegally showing it in the Discord. Okay, they don't like me doing that, but I did it anyway because I have
yeah.
So I found a loophole. So yeah, definitely go check that out. We have just about every week something going on in the Discord, and of course, there's all.
What did you do? What did you do last week? Did you watch like Godzilla or something?
We had. I think we did. Did we do? We did Godzilla -1 either last week or the week before.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
That
was good. That was good. That was the first time I'd seen that movie. It was great.
That's the recent one, right? That was the recent one.
That's the most recent one. I know there was 2 last year. There was Godzilla.
There was 2 Godzilla movies.
There was Godzilla X Kong, and then there was Godzilla -1. One was the kooky one. One was the serious one.
Gotcha.
Why are we talking about this?
Yeah, I know.
The
Godzilla Underworld. I don't know.
Save it for the next pod. Of course, follow us on YouTube and Threads, obviously. At the SWU. I'm also we're popping off on Blue Sky. I have to say, okay, very proud, very very happy with what's going on Blue Sky. All the stuff's happening. When are you gonna get on Blue Sky, Hannah? Come on, join the crowd. I'm gonna peer pressure you.
Out for some reason.
You're cutting out for some reason. Are you cutting it? I can't hear you now. I can't hear you. Getting nothing. It started going in and out, then just nothing. So we'll get Hannah back in a second. I will just inform you all to follow us everywhere, including Threads, especially Threads. It's the thing. And no, still can't hear you, Hannah. I'm sorry.
What about now? Hello?
Okay, now that's good. That's good.
All right, let's not touch anything. Oh my God, let's go. All right.
Yeah, just fingers and toes crossed. We'll get through this together.
Okay. All right.
All right. We mentioned it off the top. We'll get into it. Star Wars Visions Volume 3, a weird late night or depending on where you are in the world, an early announcement. That Volume 3, Star Wars Visions, is coming next year. Comprised of 9 shorts created by 7 different Japanese anime studios. Kamikaze Duga, Kanima Citrus. I'm going to butcher all these names. I apologize.
Yeah. You're doing your best.
Production IG and Trigger are all returning studios. So they previously worked on Star Wars Visions, and then saw several new studios, including Anima, David Production, Polygon Pictures, Project Studio Q, and Wit Studio are all joining the team. So 9 shorts, Star Wars Visions Volume 3, 2025. Initial thoughts, Hannah?
Going into this show, we knew that we're probably gonna be the only 2 talking about this, and this is like the worst week for this news to drop, to have mainly us 2 just talking about it. Because if you do recall, I am not a massive fan of Star Wars Visions at all. Even to the extent of I actually don't think I ever watched Volume 2. I think I only watched Volume 1. I just Volume 1 didn't grab me at all. And I actually don't think I've seen Volume 2 at all either. So I'm like interesting perspective to like talk about this. But in saying all that, the only kind of positive I extrapolate out of this is that I think it's a really important thing that Lucasfilm is kind of showing that they're willing to, be creative, to take Star Wars, this super franchise, super IP to these studios. I think that's really creative and beneficial. I think just in the artistic world, that's a really positive thing, and that's a really good thing, especially for the studios to just experience getting to work with such a big title. So it is good in that sense, and I do appreciate that sense, and I think it's going to be exciting. Definitely appreciate the excitement that the studios, the fans, even just fans of probably, fans of anime, but not even that much fans of Star Wars, can appreciate these, especially with Star Wars Celebration Japan happening next year. I'm hoping there would be some sort of premiere for it, or maybe they just show the first episode or something.
I think so too, yeah.
I think it's exciting for that, in that aspect. But I mean, personally for me, it's just not my cup of tea. But overall, pretty interesting.
I'm kind of in a similar boat with you in regards to I went on a bit of a journey with Visions. Like I went from someone who was like, I don't really like anime. Like I was very much in the like I never seen anime. I never really had interest in watching anime. And then there's obviously a Star Wars anime, so of course I'm gonna freaking watch that. And then I was really drawn in by Volume 1. Several of those episodes, like, you know, I think all of them, it's a mixed bag for me, like overall. Like there's some episodes and I'm like, I watched that one once, I'm good. But there was other ones in Volume 1 that I like. The Duel was fantastic. I thought it was brilliant. The Ninth Jedi, like one of the best Star Wars movies in my opinion. Like it's so good. Like there's genuinely some great stuff in Volume 1. Volume 2, I did watch it. I just wasn't crazy about it. I wasn't overall that impressed with it. And which it kind of weirdly coming full circle because maybe I forgot to mention this. These will all be Japanese studios once again, like season 1. Volume 3 will be going back to the Volume 1 model, which is just kind of all Japanese studios versus kind of the round the world thing that we're doing with Volume 2.
Yes, that's right. Because I was going to say that. I was like, I vaguely remembered something about a Spanish studio or Portuguese.
There was an Indian one. There was a Spanish one. I mean, really cool.
Yeah.
Like I'm not
really
knocking it, even though it's not my cup of tea. Like I love that they're doing this. I love that Lucasfilm is taking risks. So that I will always ask for that. Like I had my qualms with The Acolyte. It wasn't my favorite Star Wars show, but I was like, bravo, you tried something. You made a huge swing there. You did something that was totally different, totally something that we'd never seen before. And I applaud you for it. And I always will applaud Lucasfilm for trying new things. And Visions is that thing that I think is great. And getting back to what I was saying, which like, I think it kind of speaks to maybe my personal like taste on anime that I really liked the first season that was all Japanese. And then I wasn't totally chill with the second season, which was kind of like a lot of different cultures. So maybe I'll like this new season better because it is going back to Japanese. Maybe my taste is like, maybe somewhere in there, I'm a hardcore Japanese anime fan. Okay. Maybe. Okay. I'm not betting on it, but we'll see. But, regardless, I think this is really cool news. I think a lot of people, you know, regardless of my opinion, a lot of people really, really love Visions.
Yeah,
some people say it's their favorite thing. So I'm like, good on you. I love that you love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And did you want to bring up all the studios and all the names? Because I can see you got it lined up there, man.
Oh, yeah, right. Here's the logo that I uploaded. Here it is.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Visions Volume 3. And of course, here is all the studios that will be.
Yeah.
And some of them, you can read, there's a full spread on StarWars.com about this. But some of the studios, I think Kamikaze Duga and Anima will be working together on a short or two. So so be some collaboration, and others will be working on them. That maybe it'll be multiple, because there's 7 studios working on 9 shorts, and there's some collaboration. So some studios will probably be doing inevitably at least 1, if not 2 of the 2 or 3 of the shorts. So pretty cool, really, really cool.
Yeah, there you go, Visions.
Yeah. So switching gears to Skeleton Crew, we are, as of watching this, it will be probably 11 days away from the premiere of Skeleton Crew. And the past few days, we have been bombarded with TV spots and little teasers. And there was 2 big behind the scenes like featurette things. One of them was like a director's filmmaker roundtable. The other one was kind of like a general behind the scenes thing that was released today. There was a couple of clips. There was a clip with the kids and Jude kind of interacting and them kind of showing their dynamic. And there's also another clip where Fern is like trying to make a deal with the droid, telling him that she killed their captain and she's captain, blah blah blah. Considering again that we're literally days away from this show premiering, I feel like kind of pointless to like, oh, let's look at the details in every clip. Like, no, we're gonna see all of it in a few days. Like, chill out. I don't see a reason to actually like break all of it down. But what are your thoughts on this?
I remember this happening a little bit with Acolyte, where they released that. There was like that whole fight scene that in the bar that they released with Indara and like fighting. Like that was a sick scene, but it was actually a little disappointing when we got to the show and we got to the premiere and they watched the episode and it gets to the bar and you're like, okay, I know what's happening for the next 3 minutes. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, why do you show us that? Like, make sick trailers, put epic music over it, and boom, boom, boom. This looks cool. Like, make it that. Keep making those kind of TV spots and things like that. But yeah, I find it bizarre when they just like drop like a whole like 90-second like section of an episode. So I think that's a little bizarre. But to the other thing you mentioned, the directors roundtable. Oh my goodness. Did you watch this?
I watched this. I watched both the featurettes. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, my goodness, did I love that. Oh my God, it's so good. It reminds me of Mando season 1, the behind the scenes roundtable that they did. It was really, really, I think, just beneficial and interesting, and for me, just so engaging to see the directors, and because obviously there's a few directors across the episodes, all talking about the show and bringing it to life, and just conceptually being like, how did this come about? What was the goal, the purpose, and actually just establishing that before the show comes out, I think is really beneficial to fans. And a few people have said this, but I definitely recommend, if anyone's listening and a little iffy on Skeleton Crew, it hasn't caught your attention, you're not too interested in that, definitely just check out the roundtable. It's like 10 minutes. It's not that long.
Yeah.
And it's just who's the main guy?
It's I can't name everyone, but I know it's John Watts and Christopher Ford, who are the co-creators. You have Bryce Dallas Howard is in there, and one of the directors.
Like,
Jake Schreier and what's the other guy's name? I can't remember.
Yeah, the other
sorry,
guy.
Other guy. You're very important.
Yeah, other dude. Like listening to them speak about this as creatives was just absolutely
David
really
Lowery,
inspiring. Sorry. David Lowery, that's his name. Yeah, there you go. Really great little spot, really great little BTS, and they didn't spoil anything. That was also the benefit. They weren't just
it wasn't even a whole lot of new footage in it, really.
Yeah, they were just like, hey, this is why we wanted to make this, and their experiences putting it together. So no spoilers in it. It was just a really good behind the scenes insight into it. So I loved that roundtable. It's cool.
No, it gave me Disney Gallery vibes. If you remember that show, Disney Gallery, the whatever.
Yeah, the Mando one.
We used to get way back when. Remember those? This gave me those kind of vibes, like the early. I mean, we got huge ones for early seasons of Mando, where just the director sitting around talking, and this was very much the same vibe. And I hope, since we know they recorded something, can they give us can we get a behind the scenes doc on Skeleton Crew at the very least? They've starved us of Andor and Acolyte not having proper behind the scenes featurettes. So, give us more of that. But, as I said, some really cool, just really cool to watch those. And then also we got today the whole cast and crew, John Watts, June Law, Christopher Ford, and all the kids were in London today for a press event. And it was really cool. There's tons and tons and tons of video and interviews and stuff like this and photo ops. And just great to see them out doing their thing with just a few days to spare.
They're just such sweet looking kids. I love them so much already. But it's really funny. I've never seen John Watts smile ever. Like, I think that is his smile. Like, what he's right. I was like, whatever face he's making right here, like that's him smiling, I think.
It's funny.
What a guy.
I swear to you, when I was watching the director's roundtable, I was thinking to myself and seeing him like laugh and goof off with his fellow directors and friends. I'm like, oh, this guy isn't just a grump. He actually has like a sense of humor, because every photo he's in, he's just like stone face.
Yeah, he's just got that kind of.
It's just his thing.
Yeah.
Which I understand. These people are asked to do this everywhere. To go out, stand and take a picture. Eventually, it just gets old, and you're just standing there. I get it, but yeah.
I love it.
So
I love
funny.
it. Yeah,
so funny,
so good.
But so it's really good that Skeleton Crew is upon us. By next week, it'll be right on our doorstep. Really will be great. And I'll say this right now, if I forget to things, I don't know if we're gonna have a show next week, honestly, because I won't be here.
Oh yeah, true.
It'll be American Thanksgiving next Thursday. So sometimes we do a show, sometimes we don't. It's gonna be up to. I mean,
we'll see.
Two of us aren't Americans, so it kind of helps.
Yeah, we'll see what's going down.
And the other two don't really care about Thanksgiving, so so there we go. We got this confirmed. The directors for each episode of Skeleton Crew. Obviously, we knew who the directors were. We didn't know which episodes they were going to be directing. So I'll run through them really quick for you. Episode 1 will be directed by John Watts. Episodes 2 and 3 will be directed by David Lowery. The Daniels will be stepping in to direct episode 4. So that's one to look out for. Jake Schreier will be directing episode 5. Bryce Dallas Howard will be directing episode 6. Another one to look out for. Lee Isaac Chung will be directing episode 7. And then John Watts coming in to bookend it with episode 8. So very cool. Very, very, very cool to get the lineup there and know what to expect. Yeah, very exciting.
I think it's important to take note of like who's doing what and what episodes really stand out and people enjoy, because like I think about that with like thinking back to Mando season 1 and like who directed what episode and then who came back for season 2 because they did very well in season 1 and that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, obviously I think I'm a bit biased because I'm just so obsessed with Bryce Dallas Howard. So I'm really excited for her episode. I think it's going to be really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have my eyes on a lot of these guys. I think I liked a lot of those. Like Lee Isaac Chung just knocked it out of the park with Twisters. Like that was a big success. A lot of talent.
Big
and
name.
then
a lot of talent. Yeah.
Yeah, and then freaking the Daniels. Like, come on, everywhere.
Yeah.
Everything everywhere all at once. Did you see that movie?
I didn't see that movie, but I know it was like very critically acclaimed. Yeah.
Yeah, you be prepared. Just do yourself a favor and watch it, but also be prepared because it's nothing can prepare you for that movie. It's insanity. It's insanity. And I'm so excited for their episode because it's like, what is this gonna be? I have no idea. So yeah. All right. We'll move on to a couple other things real quick before we start to wrap up. One big thing, something that's another surprising thing that happened this week, something that you're like, that you might have been like me and been like, wait, didn't that already happen? Didn't that already come out? And I just missed it. No, actually, you did not. The official comic book adaptation of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is finally coming out.
What are we doing?
For those of you who are confused, this was originally announced before the movie came out in 2019. It was supposed to come out in 2020. And I don't have to tell you what happened in the year 2020. And there was also some other factors I've heard that led to this being straight up canceled for a while. But now it is officially coming out. February 26th will be a 5-issue series will be the beginning of that. Jody Hauser is writing with art by Will Sliney, and it will include some new scenes, some scenes that are not in the movie. I think they even showed some screen grabs of the interior, and there's like the you know that deleted scene where Kylo like is on Mustafar and he like goes to that bog thing. And like, like trying to get the thing from it. There's that scene that was apparently a deleted scene, but I don't know if it actually did. I don't even know if that was even released. And then there's apparently there's a Chewbacca interrogation scene between Kylo that may be included in this too. So so very, very cool, very interesting. The comic book adaptions vary in quality, but they're usually interesting when they're adding new stuff instead of just like, let's just tell the same story word for word, panel by panel for panel. So yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, I love comics.
Yeah. I'll run through a couple of quick things because I know we are short on time. We're short on time. I'll just be honest with you. We're short on time, and we want to get to some questions. But Star Wars Outlaws was nominated for not 1, not 2, but 3 nominations at the nominated for nominations. That's a something that a crazy person would say, or me. It received 3 nominations from the Game Awards for won Best Action / Adventure, Innovation in Accessibility, and Umberly Gonzalez not won, but was nominated for Best Performance. So, do you played Outlaws? Do you believe it earned these? That face, man. Still just this cringe face.
Look, this is like, okay,
that's not the answer I was looking for. I didn't want to look. That's not the answer you want.
I'm coming off doing a live show where I unbox a PR package that Ubisoft sent me yesterday. So I feel super bad about this.
You're a shill. You're a shill hand. Just embrace it.
I know. Embrace the shill side. Look, I think the closest one, I'm not too familiar with the accessibility, but apparently that was quite good. I'm not too familiar with that. I think the best chance this game has is Humberly's performance. I think she did quite well. I think she was quite applied to the role, and it came out quite well for Kay Vess's character. I think she'll absolutely, without a doubt, win. I don't think so, but I think she could be in the chance for that one. The other best action adventure game. To be fair, I haven't played pretty much any other action adventure game this year, so I don't know what to compare it to. But yeah, I don't know about that one. But good on it. At least it's nominated. Well, look at that. That's good.
Yeah, look, if nothing else, give it to Umberly Gonzalez. Like she's such a bright light. Like, and she's so like clearly talented, and she's just, I love seeing her posts and seeing her reactions. Seems like just she's just an amazing person. So give it to her, okay? All right, maybe not the other things, but give it to her. But we'll see how it goes. I don't know actually who the other nominees are, so I don't know what stiff competition they have. But all right, couple of things. These are actually rumors. These are not official things. I heard a rumor. Okay, that's all. That's what you're gonna get. We're not gonna get the copyright hounds on us. We want this episode to stay up. So this comes from Daniel Rickman, who apparently says that season 2 of Ahsoka will begin filming in April of 2025. So this pretty much lines up with other stuff we've heard that I think Natasha Leo Bordizzo was out talking about stuff, and I think even Iman Asfandi has been talking about like, hey, yeah, pretty soon going to be going back and working on a Star Wars show. We're planning. I think even Natasha even said like straight up like, yeah, I'm going to be shooting Ahsoka next year. This is a rumor. Obviously, it's a scoop, but I think you can bet your money on it. But does this line up with what you're thinking, Hannah?
Yeah, I definitely think so, because I think the Mando Grogu film production should probably wrap. I know it was rumored a few weeks ago that it has wrapped, but that's not true. That's been debunked.
You're right.
And it's definitely still going. Perhaps it's just probably, they're only doing some final shorter scenes, so maybe there's like less crew involved, perhaps, but it's definitely not finished. So I reckon that will wrap in maybe for Christmas, maybe finish in January. Because then I reckon they'll go have a good old holiday day, recuperate, just relax for a minute, and then come back in April and we'll start on Ahsoka 2. So yeah, I think that's pretty realistic. And Daniel RPK, I used to be quite suspicious of, but then a lot of his reporting did come true. So
no offense, Daniel.
Yeah, rip. But he's been pretty right recently, so I trust him now. Good source.
Yeah, and it also, and I know a lot of scoopers, like I follow a lot of them, so like it's nothing personal. It's genuinely like I think it's not all their fault, because they're like dealing with like, well, so and so told me this, and sometimes just stuff just doesn't work out, and their information is bad, not because the person they talked to was bad. It's just just happens like that. Stuff changes. It's Hollywood, unfortunately. So yeah, so that pretty much, I think you can pretty much bet money on that thing. So yeah, can't wait for that. Can't wait for Soko. I guess it'll come out the next year. I don't know. God, I haven't wait so long.
Yeah, 20. Well, because I reckon they're aiming for a 1 live action show, 1 animated show a year. I reckon they'll be aiming for that.
Probably.
And so, Andor and I think something animated apart from Visions will drop next year. That'll be 2025. And then, if they film Ahsoka in April, do maybe 4 or 5 months of filming, wrap by Christmas, post-production for another 6 months, and then drops middle of 2026. Because then I think there's going to be a lot of tie-ins from Mando Grogu movie to Ahsoka season 2. So that makes sense, where it's like, because the Grogu Mando movie should be dropping May 2026. So the movie will come out. There's that story, and then I think a lot of tie-ins will kind of point to, and Ahsoka season 2 is coming out in like October or something. So yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I agree. Fully agree. And speaking of 2026, this actually isn't a rumor. This is pretty well, you can take this to the bank. This is the official Disney movie schedule. Their big thing. I don't know actually where this thing is, but everyone is reporting on it. Some mythical thing just exists. It's just a calendar in Bob Iger's office. They're just checking off, just marking on it.
Just a whiteboard,
just random scribbles. But apparently, the Star Wars movie that we don't actually know which Star Wars movie this is presumed to be the new Jedi Order Rey Skywalker movie. That movie that was scheduled to come out December 18th, 2026, has been removed from the schedule and replaced by, drumroll please, Ice Age 6. Can you wait for Ice Age 6? I didn't even know there was an Ice Age 6, but apparently we're getting that
instead of a Star Wars movie. Did we have a 5?
I didn't know there was. I thought there was at most like 3 of those things. Like
that's hilarious. Yeah. Right. Wild. Yeah. It's okay, I want to debunk this, because I think this sort of story kind of just, well, not debunk maybe, I don't know, but this story kind of just like went wild, and I think it was totally out of proportion, because Ice Age 6 was just already coming out December 2026, and a few of the big stories covering, big companies or whatever covering this story, saw that time slot for a Star Wars movie had moved and just said, Ice Age 6 is the only thing now that they must have replaced. And so the clickbaity kind of headline has been Ice Age replaces Star Wars. And I'm like, that is definitely not what has happened here. I think there's a big changing right now of, I think they're going to not throw away or shelve, but they're kind of going to transform this Rey solo movie, no pun intended, like Rey movie into the trilogy. Obviously they got Simon Kinberg. Right. I think they've realized, we can actually do a lot with Rey's character, and they're going, let's not do the single movie that would have come out then. Because remember, there was, it was about a few months ago, 6 months ago, midway through the year, there was some stories that the script hadn't been finished. Like there was a lot of edits, there was a lot of changes being made. Like I think they were banking on, they were going to get a script really quick and it was going to be perfect. And it hasn't been that. So they don't have that script ready for that individual movie. But then Simon's come on board being like, hey, I'll give her 3 movies that is interesting. And they're going, let's go with that. I like that. And so that's why that's what I think is this kind of change. So I'm not at all affected by the fact that this has been pulled. It's like, no, I think they're just transforming what they were going to do with that story. And it's not replaced by Ice Age. Ice Age was already coming out. It's okay.
It's not. Don't do it. I think, it's easy to get caught up in this. I don't put a lot of stock in this Disney calendar. Like literally they've got movies, I think, till like 2030 on their schedule. Like it means nothing. They change
It's
the
like
stuff all
Avatar
the time.
8 scheduled for like 2040.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, you can't, like, it's just like they have to put these things down on their calendar just to show their stockholders, look, we're making stuff. It's going to come out here. And then they just change it. It's just a slot for a movie. It doesn't really matter. I think you take it out of context and be like, oh my gosh, the Star Wars movie that was going to come out in 2026 has been moved. It's been replaced by Ice Age 6. That sounds really bad. But when you actually look at the context, you're like, no, that's the second Star Wars movie that's coming out in 2026, okay? The Mandalorian Grogu is still happening. It's almost completely filmed. It's almost guaranteed to come out in May of 2026. Nothing's really changed. In fact, I applaud this decision. I don't want 2 Star Wars movies in 1 year. Maybe that's just me. I just think it's a bad idea to put 2. I don't like that idea. Maybe I'll be proven wrong one day. But I'm not keen on squeezing 2 Star Wars movies into 1 year. Maybe that's what they're learning. Maybe hopefully. But I think I don't think it's a coincidence that we're hearing that this movie potentially was slated for this thing, or maybe they were trying to get it into this November slot of 2026. And then you have Stephen Knight exit the project, and then you have Simon Kinberg come in, and what you're talking about. Perhaps something's going on there and they're expanding the project and they're doing something different and they need more time. And I don't understand the people that are like, we have to wait so long for Star Wars movies. Like, do you want it to be fast or do you want it to be good? Because you can't have both.
That is such a good, yes, that's the question. Yeah.
Like they could just release it, like just film something in someone's backyard tomorrow and then release it next week. It would be bad. It would be really bad. But you get your Star Wars movie, and it's funny, and I want them to take as much time as they want to, and as they need to make this good. And we're getting a Star Wars movie. It's filming right now. It's that tin guy dude and his green baby. Like, we're getting that movie. Chill out.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree.
So, so nothing to freak out about. Despite, I know the internet loves to freak out about literally everything, but I think this is one that you can just chill out. Okay. Do we have time for one question?
Yeah, we can have a question. Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Sure. Well, actually, let's go to our good friend Jesse Bennett, who sends in a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Jesse. And he says, in reference to the comic we were just talking about, with the Tross comic finally coming out, do you think this means we could see other quote unquote canceled Star Wars projects make a return? Cough, cough, acolyte, cough, cough.
Let me just say, it's much easier to just have one writer and one illustrator whip together a comic and pop that out than to really, I think, quantify realistically and statistically what Acolyte lost monetarily, and try and get that back into another production for a season 2. I think it's a lot harder to do that. So I wouldn't bet on that at the moment right now.
I think related to this, I think there's a much better chance of them announcing a Acolyte tie-in comic that is essentially just season 2 in a comic. I think there's way more just similar to what they did with Clone Wars. Way back when we got the Clone Wars. Clone Wars was canceled. We got season 6, and then we got the Son of Dathomir comics, which was just unused scripts from the show put into comic form. I'm assuming. I don't think anything was written for season 2. I know they were trying to assemble a writer's room and they were trying to work into a new production, but who knows how that went and how far they got. Ultimately, yes, I love the wishful thinking, Jesse. Love it. But I think like you said, it's a comic. It's there. Very easy to just be like, okay, well, we got this script. We've got these panels that are half finished. Let's just finish them. And I think Jody Houser and those guys, like, they were on board from the beginning. Like they literally, I think he just literally just called them back and being like, okay, let's finish this thing. Let's just do it. And let's do it. Like you can't do that with like 1,000 people and 50 cast and crew members and just all the stuff and directors. It's a lot. So keep the faith, but don't be unrealistic when it comes to Acolyte. Let's see what we have from the Discord. Vlad Sander says, here is my question for our esteemed host. Wow, esteemed. We're esteemed.
Well, you're only
now.
getting half. You're only getting half of the esteem, so I don't know what part of
don't
are,
flatter us. Don't try to flatter us. Here's my question for our esteemed host, and I feel it deserves deep contemplation. So get your thinking cap on.
Okay.
This requires deep contemplation.
I'm ready. I am ready.
The Genndy Tartakovsky 2003 Clone Wars series wasn't created, do we think we would ever have gotten the 2008 Clone Wars series that then spawned off into Rebels, Bad Batch, Ahsoka, etc.? Also, do you think the Clone Wars 2008 would have succeeded if it had been done in the style of the 2003 version? So would we have gotten basically all the animated stuff we've gotten without the micro series original?
Yeah, I think so because I think George always wanted that, always had that kind of thread of curiosity of, can Star Wars be on TV and how to do this and how to tell these stories. Like I think that still existed, so I think definitely he still would have explored that. Probably to the same point. I feel like I'm on the Raeside now. Just me. I feel like George would have still wanted to pursue that and explore that. In regards to the latter question, though, I think is a very interesting question. If the full Clone Wars series was in the same style, the Tchaikovsky, I always forget. I can't say his name. The 2003 one.
Genndy Tartakovsky.
Tartakovsky. I don't think it would have been as good or as liked or as widely appreciated. I don't think. I think there's something about the style that really added to the realness of the show, and you felt like you really understood the characters. And I think that the 2D animation is stylistically interesting, and that's some people's cup of tea. But I think it had less. That kind of animation has less relatability to it. Where I think the actual animation was a bit more relatable or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I going back to the first question, like I think you're right. You're spot on with that. Like I think George was already on, he was on that road to like, I've done my movies. I want to do TV. Obviously, he wanted to do Underworld. He wanted to do that show, that really expensive show, but it had kind of the idea of the volume in his head, I think, kind of trying to do stuff on the cheap of what would become The Mandalorian. He wanted to do that, but I think he couldn't, he was limited by the technology of his time. So animation was that next step, was that, okay, I can do whatever I want. I can do these things. I can tell the story. So I think no matter what happens, there's some animated show happening in 2008 or even sooner. And it just so happened that the 2003 series came about, and it was really part of the Clone Wars series, the mini series, the micro series, whatever you call it. That 2003 series, I mean, it was part of that kind of multimedia push that was happening between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. It was a big deal. It's part of tons of comics and whatever. There's so many different tie-ins with books. There's, the Revenge of the Sith novel, I think, mentions Asajj Ventress and stuff like that. Like, there's all kinds of stuff that's happening. And, but it's ultimately, it led to that. It kind of proved that the Clone Wars era was ripe for storytelling. I think that encouraged George. I think, if anything, it might have led him to do something else in another era, maybe, but it was because Tartakovsky kind of came in and just kind of established that and established the style of it. I think was really interesting. But I don't know about the style. I don't know about the Tartakovsky style. Obviously, Genndy wasn't on board for everything. I think George probably wouldn't have like wanted to. I mean, you could technically see like what if Gendy took on the Filoni role and he was like leading the thing, and that could have been interesting. But I think George was about pushing boundaries. I think the hand-drawn style, as good as it is, and as good as the Clone Wars miniseries, microseries looks, it's not pushing boundaries. It's doing something that's been done for 100 years. Like that art style has been done. It's great, but the CGI was like, this is the next new thing. And George essentially did with Clone Wars what some feature films couldn't do. Like, they were predicting at the time, and even now, creating Pixar quality animation on a TV budget, which was still astounding, like how much money. And it was only because an eccentric billionaire could just throw money at this thing and make it happen. And it was amazing. So, I think the Clone Wars would have been great. Probably would have had some of the same writers like that working on it, so the same stories, but different vibe. I think would have been interesting though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We got time for a couple more questions, maybe.
Let's do it.
Let's do. Okay, Ingenious asks, what do you think of Andor if the dynamics reversed to say if the show were primarily about Mon Mothma and the political tensions there are on Coruscant, and Andor was the side story? More interesting, less interesting, or same? So what if it was called Mon instead of Andor or Mothma?
I think that would have been absolutely unbelievably good. I think that would have been really, really interesting because, I'm very biased to absolutely adore Genevieve O'Reilly.
Yeah.
Again, but I think that another bias that I have is that I love the Senate episodes of Clone Wars. I loved when there was these like dynamic kind of studies and analysis of like different.
And see, this is what makes us different because I hated those episodes.
What, really? Oh, get out of town!
No, that was you should have been on those message boards back in the day. We all hated those episodes. It's like, oh my god, another political episode. Come on,
insane! I love them. They were so good. They told so much.
What's Padme and Satine doing? They're talking about poison Snapple. What is this madness?
Poison Snapple.
That was us. That was us. That's a preview of 2009.
That's like
Internet.
the best one. What's that one called? Like Corruption or something. I love it. So good.
I'm not even bothered to remember the name of it. I'm not.
I do actually think it is called Corruption. I'm cocky about that. I think I know that. So yeah, I think I would love that. Mon Mothma, like I think her storyline is really, really fascinating, and the whole what she's trying to do, and because I think it will tie in like if it's mainly a Mon Mothma show, I think they would tie in Bail Organa a lot heavier into that, which I would have loved. I would have loved to see that in Andor 1, but I'm hoping to see that in season 2. But yeah, I think that would have been awesome. I would have absolutely watched that.
Yeah, I see. My thing is like it's like my only problem with like Andor is the title. I feel like it's barely a show about Cassian Andor. Like it's so much bigger. It's such an ensemble cast, and I feel like, obviously Cassian probably has slightly more screen time than any other character, and I'm not sure if Mon Mothma actually appears in every single episode, but she appears in a lot of it. Like it's a just as big of a part of that. She is just as big of a part of that show, I think, to me, as is Cassian or Luthen or any of those guys. So it's almost the Mon Mothma show already. Like it's almost there. Obviously, we're by the title and by like what's going on, we're meant to more sympathize with Cassian's growth. But ultimately, it is kind of an ensemble cast, and Mon Mothma is one of those people that is front and center. But I agree with you. I would love even more Mothma. Mothma.
Yes, I love it. Mothma. Let's do it. Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. So more Mothma, more everything, more of all the Mothma family, because they're a bunch of lunatics.
Yeah, it's a weird family.
Her daughter and her husband. Come on.
Classic. And that weird sort of tension she had with that other guy. Yeah, right up. So good.
Yeah.
So good.
It's great. Good stuff. So yeah, give us Mothma. Do Mothma.
Give us like I think of it being like Suits, but like the Senate, the empirical Senate. Like that's what I'm envisaging here. Like, you know, drama and people siding with people. Yeah, I'd like that.
Come on, Dan says Mothma as a title would have been so easy to make jokes in news circles. Come on, it already is. There's so many.
So good.
So many.
So good.
All right. One more question. This is a long one, but we'll get into it. It's from Tally.
All right.
Tally says, "Hey, Underworld, do you think we'll get to learn more about the planet Casa is from and see him reunite with his sister? I think it could be very interesting to see Cassian reconnect with his family after losing Marva. I loved seeing the tribe of child scavengers in season 1 and thought the circumstances was fascinating, especially considering that it would seem to be set before the CIS had really formed. I'm really curious about everything that happened on their planet, but I think there's a chance that we as an audience won't find out, at least in season 2, because maybe Cassian never did. So, you know, basically the whole thing with his family or his original family, because Marva, you know, kind of kidnapped him, adopted him.
Yeah, classic. Hey, yeah, it's super interesting. Oh, is that my internet or your internet, Ben?
I don't know. Just
keep
going.
Did I freeze or did you freeze?
There's no one else here to prove it otherwise.
That's true. We don't know. Yeah, this planet, will we find out? I hope so. I think that a quick answer would be I really hope so, because I think that was something that I was like, I wish I felt more resolved on in season 1, the whole planet and the sister thing. So maybe they might actually bring that whole thread back in season 2, that he ends up finding his sister, and discovering more about his planet. Maybe that's what because if we think about it, Cassian's pretty sort of neutral. He's just trying to get by in end of season 1. He's just kind of going where there's credits and going where he's needed. And the end, he kind of goes through some traumatic experiences. He obviously, loses his mum, in jail, all these things, horrible things, which I think take a toll. And then I reckon there's going to be hopefully some sort of thing where he visits his planet again or something, and he sees that like everything's being destroyed, and then he goes, "Oh my god, I got to stop the Empire," and that's when he joins the rebellion. I think that could be a possible storyline. So I hope so. I don't know if we will, but I hope we see the planet.
Yeah, that was thing I was a little surprised by in season 1, of like, you literally have the first scene of the show, him going to the brothel, being like trying to looking for his sister, and that obviously him doing that kind of tips everything off and what happens in the rest of the show. I think I wasn't the only one that thought that like this was going to be a bigger part of the show, that like him looking for his sister was going to be kind of one of the core mysteries of the show, and it really didn't pop up again at all. It was just kind of dropped, and I am very curious going into season 2. And like, okay, are they going to bring this back up again? Because Tony Gilroy, I think, was straight up asked about this, and he says, nah, I think he was kind of beating around the bush. He's like, nah, not really. It was nothing really a thing, which I'm like, as much as I think Andor is like so tightly written and everything moves and is tightly woven, that is one thing I'm like, maybe we could have telegraphed that a bit better, of just like, because you when you've watched enough TV and movies, you're like, okay, this means something. We're doing this thing. We're talking about this thing. It's important to the story. And when it doesn't become important to the story, or just drop later, it's the whole Chekhov's gun situation. I'm just like, okay, where did that go? What happened? So I think it'll be interesting for his story to bring back his sister, and because it is a mystery. What happened to her? What happened on that planet? What were the Separatists doing? I'm very curious.
Yeah, Matthew Hardy in the chat. I didn't want to say this because obviously they were set up to be fairly romantically maybe set up. But I had this thought just.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, true. But I just thought that too. I was like, that would be an interesting twist. Very, very interesting. But we shall see. Can't wait.
Yeah, I would want to agree with that, but I'm pretty sure there was a photo that was released today from Empire Magazine of Bix and Cassian going in for a little smooch. So
little something.
So I think there's something going on. Sparks are gonna fly. It would be real weird.
So let's hope it's not Cassian's long lost sister. Love it.
Tony Gilroy's like, but it's a Star Wars tradition. The siblings always have to kiss.
It works. Oh, I love it.
Wouldn't be Star Wars without that. Good Lord. All right. Anything else? Anything else happening?
I think that's all.
Let's talk about Godzilla now.
No, yeah. I don't know how I opened with Godzilla. I haven't even seen it. Yeah. No, I think I'm all good.
Good. We're all good on Godzilla talk. The Godzilla underworld is dead. Okay, it's buried. So if I can remember how to frickin' end this show, I will end it, and I will tell you that now is the time that we will begin. Oh, did you get it?
I got it. Do you want the music?
All right, yeah, coming in clutch, saving me multiple times tonight. Hannah, you are the real MVP. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening and watching, and it was a pleasure to be with you tonight. And it was also a relief to have Hannah join us, because that alternate version of the show where it was just me talking,
I love it.
was kind of scary. It was a little scary. I'm fascinated too, but Dominic was really hyping it up. Like he was really
thrilled about it.
And I'm not sure if it was support or it was like morbid curiosity. I think he was more like, how is he going to screw this up? I think that's the vibe that I got.
So good.
But we'll see. We'll have a stay of the Ben Solo show. It may rear its ugly head in the near future, because we're really bad at scheduling our guests. We have 4 hosts, and sometimes
we just can't get it down.
Don't show up.
I don't know what's going on. We're not the greatest.
This never used to happen. This never used to happen. We all just used to be on the show, no big deal. Now we've all got lives. Now we have stuff, more important things to do.
Shocking.
Other jobs. Jeez. Make the podcast your program. I've been here. I won't be here next week. So you guys can figure this out. I genuinely don't know. Genuinely don't know what's gonna happen next week. We'll just see what happens. It'll be up to you guys. And maybe we'll just turn the screen on and just the people in the chat can just talk to each other. And just that can be
Yeah, let's do that. That sounds good.
Yeah, so either way, just come back next week, same time, same place. We'll just all get together and we'll just talk. But plugs. We are on the Star Wars Underworld Network. I said this off the top, but I'll say it again. Check out the Raeside, Ion Ken, Tractor Beam, Tales from Beyond the Galaxy, and so many more. Join the Discord. Link is in the description. And follow us at the SWU on all the socials. Hannah, once again, thank you so very much for joining me.
My absolute pleasure. Another good chat. Good one-on-one. I like it. Getting deep. But yeah, no, it's an absolute joy. I'm glad I made it scathed in just at the last minute. I'm glad I got here.
Skin your teeth.
Yes, skin your teeth. So yeah, no, another great night. Thank you for chatting with me.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Like I said.
But yeah, do I have to say thank you, Ben, for being here? Because I guess we have to do it. Like no one can do it to you.
It is customary to thank the host. It is customary. No, it's fine. You can tell me to go to hell at the end of the show if you want to. That's fine. Fine. I won't.
Oh, it's so good.
But okay. Look, I have to say this thing. I have to say a couple things. Otherwise, the people in the chat maybe get angry at me. Okay, you know who you are. My friend Jesse, our friend Jesse, you've heard him on the show before. He hosts a show called Cinemabies, which, as the title implies, is about things in TV shows and movies that maybe happen. And I was on a great episode recently of his show, Cinemabies, where we talked about The Acolyte, specifically about like, I think one of the questions that, I don't want to spoil anything, but I think it was like, what would have happened if you switched the sisters? What if you switch May for Osho? Would it actually change anything? Because they're kind of the same person. So we talked about that a lot. I don't actually if we answered the question, because it was a lot of rambling and it was a lot of great guests and hosts on that show. So go find Cinemabies in your podcatchers. And then I was also on an episode of Fandom Empire recently with my buddy Sean and Zach, and we talked about the recent Simon Kinberg news and all that kind of stuff, and a bunch of other stuff. So it was a really fun episode. I was just going to come on for like 20 minutes to turn into a guest and turn into like an hour-long show, just rambling about all that stuff. So it was a lot of fun. I think that's it. I don't know what Chris says to these things. I just zone out. I don't listen.
I think I'm just like, all right, thanks for being here. I think that's it. I don't know. Bye-bye, I guess? I don't know.
See you next week. See you next time. Have a good night.
I would say see you next week, but I don't know if there's going to be next week.
We'll see you soon.
Well, maybe there will be. Just kidding. Not to be dramatic or anything like that. I'm gonna shut up now because I'm gonna lose my mind otherwise.
Yeah. You're good at. You did say if you get long-winded, tell me. Boom.
Give it to me. Tell me to shut up.
I don't know. I don't want to be that mean. No, I can't do it.
All right. You're too nice.
Sure. What if I just do that? What if I just do that? Throw it on your face.
Okay. All right. Jeez. Wow. You see what I had to put up with on the show? Jeez.
Come on. You asked for it.
Okay. I guess I technically did ask for it. All right. Stop doing that. I'm not finished. So, I don't know what to say except, for myself and Hannah and Dominic and Chris, wherever they are, thank you so much for listening and watching. We love you. We hope you come back next week if we are here next week. If not, come back the next week because we're talking about Skeleton Crew. It's going to be a good time. But until then, may the Force be with you. All right, who's going to say it?
No, I thought you were going to say it.
I'm not going to say it.
Oh, okay. Do I have to do it? All right, hang on. It's a wrap. Oh, God, that was a strong.